What's the latest on where he might end up?
Well, my understanding is after this game, the Jets will have a little time. That's when talks may start with Dalvin Cook on something that he would find acceptable. He's been out there for a while waiting for the right deal. The right deal could come from the Jets once we get through this game and into the early part of next week.
Right.
So it's Monday, so it's Dalvin Cook update time. Nothing new has happened. You haven't missed anything. But since a lot of people have been talking about Dalvin Cook and Dalvin Cook's potential contract, I thought I'd dig into something because there's a lot of misinformation going around out there regarding Dalvin Cook's $2 million guarantee from the Minnesota Vikings. Dalvin Cook, yes, is indeed guaranteed $2 million from the Minnesota Vikings. But that's not as it appears. Now, of course, if he doesn't sign with anybody, sits home and watches, television, turns on HBO and watches Hard Knocks, doesn't matter. If he does not play this year, he still gets $2 million. However, if he signs with any team and that contract is for more than $2 million, Dalvin Cook does not get that guaranteed money from the Minnesota Vikings. I'll say it again. If Dalvin Cook signs with any team, the Jets, Buffalo, Miami, whoever, and his contract is for more than $2 million, Dalvin Cook does not get that guaranteed money from the Minnesota Vikings. There's a lot of people out there putting out a lot of wrong information, and like I've said before, I try to give you a perspective from that of a player or possibly, a GM's office. Now understand that $2 million guarantee from the Minnesota Vikings, that is covered, basically governed by the offset language in any potential contract. So let me break this down. If he signs with the Jets or the Dolphins and they give him $5 million, just going to use that as a round number. If he gets $5 million, Minnesota no longer has to pay him that guarantee. He's making more than a guarantee, so they don't have to pay it. If for some reason he accepted a $1 million contract with the Dolphins, well then it's below the $2 million threshold and they would have to pay $1 million of their guarantee to make sure that he's guaranteed $2 million. Think of it like an unemployment check. They're basically subsidizing Dalvin Cook in the event he can't find another job. He only gets the money if he can't find another job or if he signs for less than $2 million. But he's not going to get $5 million from a new team and $2 million from the Minnesota Vikings. He's not going to have $7 million combined. That $2 million goes gone. It goes away. Your contract that's exceeding $2 million supersedes because of the offset language, and you only get the $5 million contract. Now, I know that sounds complicated. Offset language isn't the kind of thing that most fans even involve themselves with. There's no reason to understand offset language. It's never going to affect you. However, I'm going to let Scott Pioli explain exactly how offset language affects a contract between a player and his new team and his old team. Scott Pioli used to be the assistant general manager of the Atlanta Falcons, and he's an analyst now on the NFL Network. Let's take a listen to what he says about the offset language potentially affecting Dalvin Cook.
A little bit on what that means from a front office perspective.
I love that.
Cam, I was so happy you brought up that point while I was watching the show because it impacts three different ways. So when the fact that he's guaranteed $2 billion, what that means for Dalvin Cook is that is his floor. He's guaranteed $2 million whether he plays or not. If he goes to another team, he has to make more than $2 million in order for him to make any new money, so to speak. When you look at it from the front office of the Vikings, what they love about this is they know that someone's going to pay him, and that will mitigate the $2 million that they guaranteed him. So if another team pays him $4 million, well, they're off the hook, meaning the Minnesota Vikings are off the hook for their first $2 million, and then it's $2 million additional for Dalvin. But when you look at it as the new team, you brought up the great point yesterday, Cam, about the fact that that is the floor for the new team. Dalvin Cook needs to make more new money from the team above $2 million in order for it to feel good to him. So $2 million is his floor. So the new team that signs Dalvin Cook is going to have to go well above and beyond in year one compensation and cash in order to make Dalvin Cook feel better.
That's easy, wasn't it? Makes a lot of sense. I hope that clears it up for you, that you're not following a bunch of misinformation being bandied about on YouTube by other YouTubers who aren't understanding the actual way the offset language triggers, especially in regards to Dalvin Cook. Talk to you soon.